steal my 4-part solution on how to never run out of things to say in a conversation. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you're literally the only one who's bringing any conversation to the table? For a little while, you just run out of things to say and you're just sitting there like, what's the weather like? Especially if you're in a networking event or meeting people you don't know or for the first time, just can make something that's going really well go really sour. This goes tenfold if you're working in a job. You want to be interacting with people that you know, like, and have conversations with. And don't lie, you're thinking about that one person who you're like, yeah, actually, if it was just one-on-one, me and this person, there is a formula that you can follow so you never run out of things to say in any conversation that you're in. And stay until the end because I've got a bonus for you, which if you don't apply, the rest of it may not just work as well as it could. It's called the Ford method. The first one is F for family. This is one of the safest things you can bring up with anyone. Ask them about their family. Do they have siblings? Do they have kids? Do they have parents? Do they have grandparents? What kind of friends do they have? These kind of conversations might often lead to hidden gems that you might have not considered before. So you might find things in common that's going to help you form a connection. Next, we have O for occupation. This is by far the safest one that you can go for, and it's also the most boring. So if you can, try to avoid this one. But occupational conversations are really easy to get started. What do you do is a really simple question. And of course, they're usually going to reciprocate, so you can talk about that. And if you do know what they do, then of course you can go in with a little bit of that industry knowledge or some kind of conversational topics around it. And if you don't know anything about what they do, then you could ask them what the most interesting thing about their job is. Or the better one is, what do you hate about your job? This is something that's going to get the conversation flowing for sure. What do people like to do above all else? Complain. That's the one thing that's universally true, regardless of where you're from, where you were born, where you grew up, what gender, what race you are. Complaining is a universal commonality. You can get somebody to complain. Yes, it might be a more boring conversation, but you can turn it into something more positive. We have R for recreation. Often people have some kind of hobbies or things that they're into. You might get the surface level answer of, I don't know what I do in my free time. I just watch Netflix, chill out, hang out with my friends. But if you dig a little bit deeper and ask them, hey, what did you do at university? Or what did you do in your spare time when you were younger? What societies were you part of? What clubs were you part of? That's when you'll get some of their deeper hobbies. And sometimes they might even be embarrassed to admit a couple of their hobbies because it might not be seen as socially relevant in the context that they're in. So you might have to pry a little bit deeper to get into those. For example, if you're in a business setting or networking event, they might not be so forthcoming to tell you that they're into games. So you might need to ask them, hey, do you play any video games? Do you watch any movies? What is the last thing you watched? Those kind of questions will really get you into below their surface level conversation. And who knows, maybe you're into the same thing and that will suddenly hit off into a whole new conversation, which is exactly what you should be after. Now, before we get to the bonus that helps you put everything together, we've covered F for family, O for occupation, R for recreation, and now D for dreams. This can't be your conversational openers. Hey, what are your dreams? You need to bring this one in once you're already in the conversation a little bit. It's not just, hey, what are your 5-year goals? But maybe think about more interesting questions like, what are some things that you'd want to do before you die? Or a better one that I like is, if you could and money was no object, what would you be doing with your time right now? These kinds of questions will really get them thinking and dodge the surface level wishy-washy questions and answers and instead go into a little bit deeper to talk about big talk. It will also help you stand out from the crowd, who the rest of them will probably just be talking about what you do or just complaining about work. Also, it'll have other people talking about you because you're going to leave a lasting impression because you have done something different that everybody else has. Now, here's the bonus that's going to help you never run out of things to say in any conversation that you're in. So if you like this so far, then hit the like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. The bonus is you need to go into every conversation looking for a common connection that you can build with someone. Instead of just doing a transactional, hey, you say something, I'll say something, you need to find common ground that's going to allow you to build a conversation on top of. And the thing that most people do wrong for this is they listen to reply instead of listening to understand. It's a small difference, but it makes a massive impact when you're communicating. Listening to reply is what most people do. When somebody tells you something, you're thinking about your own story, about what you can say to that happened to you. And that's listening to reply. It does not form a good connection. It instead leaves you transactional. Instead, if you listen to just understand, now you're really taking in what they're saying and you're going to be able to ask much better questions off the back of it. And you can really dive deeper into the topics that they're talking about. The thing is, everybody likes to talk about themselves. So if you make them feel like you're listening and they're talking, they're going to think you're a good conversationalist. And to be really good at all this, you need to understand what your dominant personality style and dominant communication style is. So the video up here that you need to check out that's going to help you out in that matter. Now all that's really left is for you to bring the confidence and the energy to go into these conversations and boss up. And that's where this video right here comes in, which is going to help you develop that confidence that you need to go and talk to anyone, whether it's at a party or a business meeting, doesn't matter. You're going to develop the confidence that you can go and talk to anyone, and now you know how to never run out of things to say as well. Hit the subscribe button to get more of this content. Enjoy this next video, and I will catch you in the next one.